Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner. I'm going to start a new Christmas journal, and the kit that I purchased was from Tracy Fox. I wanted traditional looking Christmas images. This is called written it down, Festive Dispatch Christmas Postal. And so here's some of the images. I have printed it off and it's ready to go. Aren't these fun looking? And what started me wanting to do this journal was this. So recently, you guys know I was at a retreat up in Payson, Arizona, and we went to a Goodwill store and I bought this dress, but this was not the thing that jumped out at me. It was this. This lace was over the top of it. And I thought to myself, that is fantastic lace for Christmas journals. It's a beautiful red color. It was $2.49. And so I've cut off all of the lace, and I will probably, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I may keep it, I don't know. But what I thought I would do was create a fabric cover, weaving it, because I have got a boatload of Christmas fabrics here. And I've gone ahead and kind of picked out the colors that I thought would look the best. And so what we're going to do is weave some of this fabric into a cover. Now, our pages, once they're folded, let's just fold one, are this high, which is, let me grab my ruler here. I can never remember. Once you trim them down after you take off the white, it's like 7.5 inches. So we want our fabric to be, is 8 inches. I'm going to say 8.5. I think we ought to do 8.5. So let's tear this down. But before I tear it in my height, let's get the width. So let's see. We want it at about like that, I would say. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger because we can always trim it off. It's better to have it too big than not big enough. This is just kind of a cream colored fabric with some stars on it, and that is going to be our base. And so we're going to have that like that. And then let's cut this at about, let's see, we don't want it so big that it, let's just do that. And so that is what our journal cover dimensions are going to be. And whatever kit you use, this is letter size, which is 8.5 by 11 for here in the United States. So we have our base fabric here. And then now what I want to do is cut some strips to weave through here. Do I have any already? I've got a few already here. Oops. And let's see. So how long do they need to be? I guess I should measure this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8.5, but we can trim them off. So let's do 9. Let's just make some 9-inch strips here. I hope everyone is doing well. You know, I've already made 2 Christmas journals, but I was like, I'm not ready for this to be over yet. We're going to weave these through. And so we're going to have these here that are going up and down. We need those to be shorter than these. So that's why I'm doing 9 inches here. And it looks like my fabric was not completely even. And we want them to be kind of tattered. We don't want them to be perfect. And then we'll just set this over to the side. And then I thought this, because what I did is I pulled in this lace because I'm going to use some of that to weave through there. And I wanted patterns of fabric that looked good. I've got a scrap here. Oh, perfect. That'll work. Is this 9 inches? I don't think it is. Nope, too short. But I know this other one is at least 9 inches. So let's trim that. And I'm not going to worry that it's really not ironed, that it's wrinkly. That doesn't matter. We're going to do 2 of each. This does not want to tear. That sometimes is that way with fabric. And we'll put some lace also. Yeah, we're going to have this very tattered looking. And what I'm going to do is the ones that are 9 inches, I'm going to put them up toward the top just in case I need more of it. Was this 9 inches? Yes. I'm going to set this up here just in case I don't have enough. And was this doesn't really look that good, so I'm going to nix that one. This green looks good. So what I'm going to do is continue cutting strips that are 9 inches. And I will come back with you guys and then we will start the weaving process. The next step I did is I did go ahead and iron the strips of fabric because as they were laying here, they were twisting up and I was afraid that you would have it turn over and you wouldn't be able to see the pretty pattern as well. So they're still raggedy because they're torn, but I did go ahead and iron them. Then the next thing I did is I secured 2 at a time with some straight pins all across the top. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to do just a straight stitch across the top. Now, all of these down here are not going to be stitched yet, because that's where we're going to take our longer strips of fabric and weave them in and out. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine right now and do that stitching. The next thing you're going to want to do is cut strips that are long enough lengthwise. And so what I'm going to do is every other strip, I'm going to pull it up toward the top. This will help with being able to weave that other fabric in there. Oops, wrong one. Every other one. I don't know what Miss Fiona's barking at. Okay, so every other one and this last one. Okay, and then what you're going to do is just take a strip and lay it down. And I had to attach some fabric here. So then you're going to bring this one down and that one up. And then this one down and the next one up. Down, up. It's easier just go down one after another. I was getting confused there a little bit. Okay, down, up, down. This may make the other ones, I should have maybe done these longer. Because I'm realizing now it's going to take bulk up. I'm hoping it will work. If it doesn't, I can always add something else to the bottom. So I need to bring that one up. Yeah, you want it right to where that edge is of the previous fabric. Okay, I think that's good. And then our next strip, lay it down. And then once again, back and forth. So today, the day I'm filming this is Monday. It will air tomorrow, Tuesday. And I know most of you guys will be busy, at least those in the United States will be busy either shopping or getting ready for Thanksgiving. You guys know I'm already done, because I got confused on what day it was. Let's see, is that up enough? Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I should have done these strips longer, because I know it's going to get short, but we will manage. Okay, I did those birds, and then let's do this one. I may not need as many. Okay, and so now this one up and down. I know my daughter was busy going to Costco to do some Thanksgiving shopping. She, besides having a gluten allergy, the poor thing, she has I think it's called a histamine allergy or something. And so she has to be careful with foods with histamines, which are fermented foods. And I know she was going to get some cheese, and I guess the softer cheeses have less histamines in them. So she really struggles, that poor girl. Okay, let's do this one. I hope this is going to look okay. And then I will have to pin all of these down and take it to my sewing machine and sew them in place so they don't get moved around a lot. We may be okay here. Okay, next one. I did do some of these longer, so okay, so it's going to have a quilted effect. I think it's going to be very pretty. I know I did make one sewing journal way back when I first started making journals, and it was scraps of fabric. They were not woven, but they were just scrunched up, and I believe I sold that journal. I don't have it, so I must have sold it. Okay, next one. This one's a big thick one here. This fabric must have been cut off, not straight. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. Oops, come on down here. I have messaged Jaff. She has a couple of new kits, you guys. One is a grungy pink kit and a grungy beige kit in her shop. And then she also has one that is almost like Florentine paper. And I thought my next journal that I want to do a journal that is just beige, brown, black, ivory, those colors, very neutral, no color tone at all. And I thought that would be fun. I'm always trying to find a new, something that would spark my interest to make something different. I get tired of making the same thing every time. Well, I definitely needed less of these. I wonder if these, yeah, look at that. If I just pull these down, I had enough room. Oh, fantastic, you guys. Isn't that kind of cool? I like that. So then now I need to put some pins in here. I'm going to run some lines up and down and across each way. I used up at the top, what I have is just gold fabric, gold thread in my machine. I love putting gold. It's really, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's kind of a coppery gold. And I think that looks rich. And then I'm wondering if I need to put something on the back, because I don't know if it's this like this. I don't know if it's thick enough. I want to make sure it's nice and thick. Sorry, I'm going off camera here. Come on. They're not wanting to cooperate, these pins. Last one. Pull those back a little bit. Yeah. Try not to stick myself. There we go. Oops, this one is coming. I need to bring this over and pin it. It's come loose, so yeah. You bring in a pin here. And one more here. Be on the safe side. Let's do one more here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this to my sewing machine and just sew some lines that way and some lines that way, and I will be back. So my woven fabric is pretty much sewn down, and then I took 2 strips and put the wrong end together and then just did a zigzag stitch down the center, and that's what I'm going to be tying it with. But as I look at it and feel it, it feels like it needs a little bit more, substance to it. And there also needs to be a focal point here. So a couple of things. As a test from Tracy's kit, I printed up 4 to a page just on some copy paper to see what it looked like. And this is a tall, she's got part of a tall kit in it. And I thought this would be nice on the front, but there needs to be something in the background to kind of break that up. It looks too busy. So maybe something like that, but I will print this out on fabric. So that's my thought. The other thing is I pulled some wadding or quilt batting. We call it batting here in the United States. Australia and some other parts, they call it wadding. But anyway, I pulled a piece of it And so I'm going to trim it to fit this because I think there just needs to be something else in between this so that it's a little bit more cushiony. And then I even thought, should I put some cardboard in between so it doesn't flip and flop? So those two things are my dilemma right now. I'm going to print this image on my, I'm thinking maybe the canvas paper. The canvas paper is stronger than the cotton paper. You know, this is just cotton sheets. And they're pretty thin, but I have this. And when you print on it, see how nice and sturdy that is? I think I'm going to print those images on there. So I'm going to do that and then I'll be back with you guys. Okay, what I did off camera is I cut the batting and I went ahead and took part of that dress and I sewed it to the batting. And I folded it under just a little bit to kind of hide that edge. And I've gone ahead and pinned it to the front of the fabric. So I sewed the lace onto the batting and then I've pinned this. And now what I'm going to do is do a blanket stitch just to kind of help these edges look a little more finished. And I've pulled out two Christmas green threads. One is just a DMC, and then the other one is some wool thread I got at the Skeen Sisters in Sydney, Australia. And that's thicker, so I'm more than likely am going to use that. I think that's still going to look good over here on it this side, because remember, this is the inside. And so the page is going to be, the cover is going to be folded in half. And so our digital kit is going to be here. And I will more than likely put some pockets here and a few other things. So there'll be some more green here. So I will do that off camera. And what I've decided to do, let me again fold it in half. Try not to stick myself. What I've decided to do is, remember I told you I was going to print this image on the canvas paper, and I did, and I do like it. And I found a really nice doily that I think I'm going to put there, and then that on top of it. And I think that looks pretty good like that. As let's see what it'll look like when we tie it up. There's 4 different fabrics here, so I've got more than enough to tie that into a bow. And remember, this is going to be thick once we add all of our pages, but I like that. I think that's going to be good. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do this week. Next week, we will work probably on the inside. I will do a little bit of thread painting here. There's some berries here that I could thread paint. I might do a little greenery here. I don't think I'm going to leave this just plain like it is. I think it needs a little bit more. But anyway, that is the start of this fabric journal cover where you actually weave scraps of fabric. So this is a great scrap buster. Now, like I said, I'm going to blanket stitch around here. So this part will not be adhered to the other side. But once I sew in our signatures and papers, then this will be adhered. And actually, I'm wondering if I think I could still sew this down by going in between. I've already pinned it down and I don't want to take it off again. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner. More than likely, this is going to be my last Christmas journal. If you're interested in it, let me know. Otherwise, I may just save it for my December daily for next year. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you guys on Thursday for Quick Tip Thursday. Thanks and bye bye.